Wanted to give everyone a little preview of project working on for Gray Capital investors for our next deal. This is not our next deal, Parkview Commons. This is a sample made-up deal, but this is a new interface that I've been working on as just an alternative to the kind of static pitch deck experience. Been experimenting with Claude Code and Cursor and developing tools, and I just thought that this would be a better way to explore a deal. It's more transparent. I think it's more interactive. Again, we have some work to do still on some of the features and some backend and hosting work and some HubSpot integration work, but I'd like to use this for our next deal, which is hopefully soon. So again, there's a property deep dive. There's no photos right now. These will be populated with the actual deal photos. For video hosting capabilities as well. Break down the different areas. Renovation overview, scope, timeline. This is going to be our map. This picture has to be uploaded. Eventually it'll be interactive, but right now we're going to just be using static. Probably going to create the specific submarket map and then upload that. Eventually we'd like to have that be interactive, but does a nice little overview. Again, we can write our own. It also have it generate an overview, but we'll most likely have an overview. And the idea is that we'll have our kind of models and like decks and materials and investment summaries that we already put together for investment committee work and just underwriting, and we can use those documents to write a better deal summary and market summary that we might be able to create, because it basically has all of our work in one, and then we just refine it until it's right, saying exactly what we want to say. And so this is all just generated, but pulling demographic information, employment drivers, it's all correct. Just some nice visuals, population growth, some supply and demand for the market, vacancy rate information, rent growth trends, the MSA, nation, submarket. There'll be some rent comps, scatter plots, lists, some information on why the Midwest. Again, this is stuff that might be in our deck, just a little bit different. Might add some pictures to break this up as well. Then there's some risk factors in the markets. And again, a lot of this is generated automatically. It reviews the market, it reviews the deal, and then it assesses the risk. So again, and we're not pre-baking or hard coding anything. It's being very transparent with making some of those assessments. Obviously, I like the numbers and the returns, and so the way that we're doing this is that it's not really doing any math. I've built a skill markdown file that takes our relatively complex Excel file and converts it to two separate CSV files that are kind of just really simple. Everything is just laid out. That the kind of back end makes it really easy for it to parse and just upload. And then we also have a method in kind of our back end admin portal where we can make sure it's all uploaded correctly and tweak all those assumptions as well. But allows you to select different scenarios: conservative, base case, upside, strategic, which is typically our business plan. With these are typically just flat assumptions, really low assumptions or kind of high assumptions, and this is kind of what we really think is going to happen and what we're going to do. Which we have all these already in our underwriting model, but now it's just going to be immediately accessible, and that's something that, again, on a deck, we would have sensitivity tables, which we have here too, but we wouldn't necessarily have the room to break down all of these different scenarios. You can also adjust your investment amount, change what your distribution level is, comparison of the deal to again long 100-year history of the S&P 500, Treasury, municipal bonds, high yield savings accounts, This we have to confirm. I just want to make sure the math works on this, but it does a tax impact estimator for potential tax savings for accelerated depreciation, drop in your marginal tax rate, and I believe that adjusts based upon your investment amount. Yeah. And then we've brought in some probability analysis, some Monte Carlo simulations based upon the assumptions brought in. So we got our sensitivity tables. Most likely we'll add some more sensitivity tables as well. Business plan, quick summary, what we're going to do, rehab summary. Again, opportunity for some more pictures. Renovation timeline, rent growth plan, then just some more operational information about Gray Residential, NOI growth projections. Again, just laying out some of our assumptions. And then when we actually have a deal modeled, we'll be able to do some more interactive work with the financials themselves. Then a team overview of Gray Captial. Probably put some more pictures here. Case studies. These are all real case studies. Just need some photos. And then I'll have a bunch of documents as well, document section. So this is not going to replace our investment portal. This is really, think of this as more of a, it really replaces our deck. So typically, like if you are not an investor of ours, and you don't have an account on our investment portal, you would like fill out a form to get a pitch deck, and then you'd be emailed or you'd immediately just be able to download a PDF of the deck, and then you'd go through it. So instead of getting a deck, you fill out that form, that intake form, and answer those questions just like you would have to get the deck, but instead of getting the deck, you just get access to this. And then you can go around and play around with it, and then if you're ready to invest, you can make a commitment. And these are all going to be, so this, while these actions are linked to HubSpot, these will take you to our investment portal, which is linked to do that right now. And that's on AppFolio. So it would be, one day, do we integrate all of this? Potentially. We don't have that. Not doing that right now. And so again, to get the PPM, all the docs, and we may upload some stuff, but again, we typically, for like the legal docs, we just need to create an account to see all of that. We just don't feel like we need to put our operating agreement out for like everyone to see. Maybe it's not a big deal, but we don't need to do it. You should be able to schedule a call. Again, that's not a live HubSpot meeting link, but it will be. Integrate interest. So you can drop this in. That'll be all linked to HubSpot. Trigger a workflow. And again, we've got this chat bot here. And we have to update some of our knowledge base. So the other fun thing about this, if this works, is we have log, like an admin backend. Again, I have some work I need to do on this, but it gives us dashboard of just activities. I'll just upload the deals. This is just a sample deal, but I can either upload a deal or I can actually go through and just manually input everything, sensitivity analysis, the media videos, all this. So here's our knowledge base. So these are like markdown files. Some of these I need to update. This is just information on Gray Captial, the firm, just kind of general information about things that the chatbot should know. And then we make it, so we're going to add to this. So like when we drop in an actual deal, like this is all made up, but when we drop in an actual deal, we'll have these individual markdown files that will have very rich information on the deal itself. And we can upload, but you can also just like manually write a markdown file and drop it right in here to train the chatbot, which is fancy. Yeah, I can upload, which is nice. These are sample investors. We'll go to our list of our investors, and again, this will upload, or this will all sync through the MCP API with HubSpot. So, and then you can switch back to LP view. So, yeah, this is one of the things we've been working on. I've been working on. Excited to use it for. We haven't linked this yet. Excited to use it for our first deal. Stay tuned. Too many questions, let me know. Oh, and by the way, I made this all by myself. I've never done any real development besides a couple weeks ago. And I've used Claude Code to do most of the scaffolding and the planning and the initial build. And then I brought it into Cursor and have been finishing it up in there. And now I'm going to let our development partner finish it off and make sure everything works and make our security tight and make sure it's going to work on our website and work on some of the back end work that I can do, but I just want to make sure it's done right. All right, thanks for watching.